Well, sea level rise and coastal flooding impacts our community in a lot of different ways. Of course, we're a barrier island community in coastal Alabama, and so we deal with it on a regular basis. One incident that just recently occurred was not specific to on our island, but we have one road on and one road off of our community, and we've had to work very closely with the state ALDOT officials, Alabama Department of Transportation, to help patch up an area or defend a part of that road, because that is our only ingress and egress and emergency exit, and that's going to be a continuing situation. This is something that they've had to deal with in the past. We just got a project done here just a few weeks ago, and that will be something that will continue to be an issue. What we've seen on the road leading to the island is a continual erosion of that facility, and they have put in the riprap and various rocks and things to try to defend the integrity of the road itself. They've done a major section of that following, I believe, Hurricane Katrina, which was in 2005. But what we see now is that other parts of the road are continually being impacted, and so now they're just kind of moving the project along as the erosion increases in those particular areas. And so that's a major concern for us, that living on an area that only has one way in and one way out. Well, the rising tides and coastal flooding, again, being a barrier island community, affects us in numerous ways. Our main issues that we've dealt with in my term as mayor, which has been almost 18 years now, we've had a lot of hurricanes, that type of flooding situation. But what we also see is that in the most vulnerable parts of our island community is we've seen more repetitive sunny day type flooding in those areas. And so that is one thing. And then the impacts of that are major, because primarily it affects our water and sewer facilities in those areas. We get the overwash from the Gulf of Mexico. It comes up into the streets and neighborhoods, and then a lot of that water and sand, in our case, filters down into the sewer system, which creates havoc on that part of the infrastructure as well. So that's one of the things that we've seen here happening sort of more and more often. The major events, storm surges, things of that nature, we're familiar with those, and we know how to have to clean up and repair for those. But what's being more and more challenging now is the fact that we're getting more repetitive nuisance type floodings at this point. Well, I think the main thing is getting folks at all different levels, particularly elected officials at all different levels, to recognize that this is a serious issue, and it's going to affect, we're just a microcosm of the greater picture. Dauphin Island is a small community, but again, what's going on in our community, whether it's environmental related, whether it's economic related, or quality of life related, it's doing the same thing throughout our country and along our coastline. And so we need to recognize that as a society and try to initiate plans of dealing with it in an appropriate way, so that we can maintain those quality of lives and protect the environment and protect the economies as well. I think it's a great opportunity for us as elected officials throughout the coastal United States regions to get together to share our common challenges and threats, if you will. I mean, living on the coastline is a fantastic thing. It's a great way of life. But we also know that there are certain challenges that we're dealt with on a regular basis. But knowing that the challenge is the first half of the battle, I think. And then, of course, knowing how to respond to that and dealing with it both short and long term. Hopefully, through this gathering, we will come up with some better ways of how to move this issue forward, get it more in the spotlight, get it more in the forefront of people's minds and ideas, knowing that this is something that's going to have to be dealt with in the very near future. And so that's really what I see the main focus of us being here for these couple of days, is to network and work together and to share experiences and ideas and possible solutions. The threats from coastal flooding, of course, we're a strong tourism-based economy. In fact, it's heavily ecotourism, in fact, with Dauphin Island. And so the threats from storm surge, flooding, and those types of things threatens our existence, and it threatens our way of life. And of course, with Dauphin Island proper, we're very much high in migratory birds. We're on the migratory trail. The environment is being threatened. We've got an Audubon sanctuary on the island that has a major freshwater lake. The Gulf of Mexico is getting fairly close to that. In fact, we're doing a project right now to try to help defend that particular lake itself. From an ecosystem standpoint, and it also provides a certain portion of our drinking water supply. Tourism, again, it affects public access. We have a lot of boat ramps, we have public beaches and things, so any kind of loss of that is just taking away from the amenities that we have to offer that supports the local tourism. And then again, being a barrier island, the island itself plays many roles, from protecting the environment, protecting the seafood industry, because to our north we have a lot of fertile grounds like the salt marshes, the oyster beds, all of those areas that are really a major critical habitat for the seafood industry, for this juvenile shrimp, fish, crab, oysters. That's where they reside and that's where they grow. And so with the barrier island being jeopardized or threatened, those areas are also jeopardized, and that affects not only the seafood industry as far as the environment goes, but it also spills over into the larger economic issues that the seafood industry brings to our region.